Alrighty. Okay. So what happened here? Higher rebalanced. Close rebalance this, close about that, internal sub 50%, push higher. Kinda. Today I'm opening the EQ of the range. We basically rebalanced and retouched the house on the left. Created accumulation, then this candle is confirmation for higher. Internal sub, this candle is even bigger confirmation. First tip would be 153, and that candle itself is telling you that okay, we may be going a little higher, so there's another possible entry. Accumulation, internal sub, in the best case scenario you want to see this low be protected, and then furthermore the closure above 222 would be your confirmation for higher, which happened right here. We close above it, retest, another push, creating order block. We are pushing higher. Yeah. MSD, are you here?
Yep.
All right. I was just going over, the PA would happen before, so I would have sort of idea.
So it's 230. Those two candles look like a potential manipulation at the tops.
Yep, same idea.
So we need to see how we react. No clear internal soup on 1 minute.
Yeah, the thing is, on a higher time frame, we are basically in all-time highs region right now, so there is not really any liquidity above us, only below. But we all know like how it is in all-time highs. Like we may just run, So yeah, we will see. We'll go just pure from overall structure and get a manipulation to manipulation, to be honest.
If you can voice out when you see a potential entry point with like first confluence, second confluence, like what would be enough for you to enter a trade? I already kind of know your system, but just it's always good to hear it like again and again in various situations because they might differ.
For sure. Like so right here, for example, if we are both correct that this is our possible manipulation, right now I would like to see us closing below this candle left 251 for a possible entry, but then I don't want to hold that trade for a long time. I'll just be looking for some sort of rebalance of the previous fractal, meaning I would take this low of wrong tool. I'll just take that low from 201 till this high at 247, simply because this range was not rebalanced. We just kind of accumulated at the highs, close above it, the confirmation, push higher. Basically now internal sub at the highs, pushing lower, rebalance the range of those three candles. Now we kind of, with this single candle, we rebalance the range of 249 to 250. And so now if you would be able to close below this 251 candle, I will be looking at least for these lows, meaning the low of 240 and 245, and then possibly I would be looking to take most of this order block, or possibly this little accumulation. Also, every accumulation, as you probably know, every accumulation is order block on bigger model. or bigger time frame. So if I'm saying order block, I also mean from time to time accumulations like this one, for example. So we'll see if you'll be able to get some of that. Internal soup, we are not closing. Also, I kind of like this high. Basically, we swept the liquidity, you know, created this high, could be sort of protected. Alright, so now we are closing below that 251 candle. So now I would like to see us kind of dropping lower, take the liquidity on the left. Can go in. Our stop is going to be that high of 251. Either it could be a little lower, but yeah, we'll leave it there at protected high. In terms of TPs, again, first TP is going to be these lows, second TP this order block, and then we will see how far we will go. Okay, kind of closing lower, for now pretty good. Strong candle pushing, basically we just reach OT of this little range. So now if we are bullish, I want to see closure above 252. If we are bearish, this candle needs to be flipped. Right. Internal sub at the lows, not a huge fan of it. Again, if you'll be able to close above this 255, that means that we are going for highs again. Kind of rebalancing that single candle. Another soup, kind of building liquidity at the highs. Internal soup again with the previous candle. Another soup, kind of 3 drive-ish. I'd like to see in the next candle or so just drop and close below 3 AM candle. That will also mean that 3 AM is opening higher, and now, alright. 302 is basically closing order block, closing below the accumulation. So now I would like to see this candle be kind of the spark of the move and start of at least the retracement of this range on the left. So now we took these little lows that we have here, little internal lows. Since we are in 3 contracts, we can take one off right here. I don't really want to see us coming back inside this range. I won't put my stop loss to the break even for now, but I will definitely reduce my risk. I will put it to that 301 candle, so we can put it right there. So now, okay, this looks like potential distribution. We are tapping that order block on the left at 231 and also this bigger accumulation. So we can take another off. We can buy right here. And so now we're kinda, you know, rebalance the range, getting wicks right here. Okay. Strong candle. So now if we are bullish, I want to see a strong closure above that 302, because this also could be just, you know, rebalance of this range, and then the closure above 302 would be basically your, again, internal soup, CISD, you know, the model, another entry for long. We can delete this one for now. We can delete these lines, and alright, we can go from that. Candle, internal soup at the highs, kind of retesting that CISD. Okay, so after this candle, if you go from the low of 305 to this high, we just rebalance this range. So now in the best case scenario, I don't want to see us coming or closing strongly above that 310 candle, because then, you know, it will be potential manipulation, soup, fair swing, and potential distribution out of this fair swing. So now I would like to see us coming lower and most importantly closing strongly below that 307 candle if we are still bearish. If not, the strong closure above 310 candle would mean that I would be closing the trade. Right, yeah, we are out right there. So now we want to see a strong closure above 302. To be honest, I can anticipate that we'll close above it, but we'll wait for the confirmation. All right, so right here we are closing strongly above it. So you can either jump the gun a little bit and enter right here. Even though
technically Pitbull, from what I see, you could have entered on the previous candle, because that would have been an internal CISD with basically an order block displacement, and then we run the true CISD, so-called.
For sure, like even here, like I told you, like this candle basically just rebalanced this bullish range. So after this candle, you really need to see, for if you are still bearish, coming lower and closing below that 307, at least 307, or better scenario about below that 306. But if you are bullish, the closure above 3010 means that we are going for the highs again. So technically, yes, you could be in a trade right here at this candle. And then if you are in trade right here, you could put your stop loss basically below either below that order block, which is safer, or below the candle itself, meaning below the 312 candle. So this is the best case, scenario, best entry that you can get, basically before everybody else. So now we are closing above the highs right here, or about the 302 candle, creating CISD. So now best case scenarios, we will just run right through the highs, through a little LR that we build up here, and take the liquidity, and went higher. Right, so kind of deeper retest. Okay, internal soup, we are tapping candidate order block on the left, rebalancing this range from 310 to 313. I think we just hit 50%, to be honest. If we go from this low to this high, yep, exactly 50%. So again, if we think that we are bullish, this again pretty good spot for entry. Another soup, candle closing higher. You would like to see us just ripping right here. Okay, red candle through the highs, basically creating yet another order block. What we can do right here, we can either add one more, and we can put our stop loss basically the protected low of 316, or we can just put our stop right there. We are in 2 counts, we don't need more. So now, again, if you are correct, we shouldn't come back basically for that 316 candle. Why? Because we just rebalanced this range. We are closing above it, so there is not really any reason for us coming back to it. Now we should just run. Again, we are in all-time highs. I don't really know where we can go. So going through will be this high at 247, and I mean we can play with SDs and just wait for another manipulation, to be honest, because yeah. So now we are taking the high on the left. You can take one off, even though these candles kind of look like we are going to run. You can put our stop loss to break even right here. Okay, kind of like how we just, internal soup, candle closing. We are closing in the same basically area that previous candle opened, but yeah. Also for those that read my Pitbul PPG right there. We are closing above it, so I would like to see us coming even higher. Right, you can actually trail stop loss here. You can put it below the 321 candle. Internal soup at the high. Rebalance the range from 321 to 323. Internal soup at the low. So now, if you are bullish, again, we need to see strong closure above 323 candle. If you are bearish, we need to see a strong closure below 321 candle. That's also the reason why my stop is right below that candle. Another internal soup. Retesting order block, candle closing higher, perfect. I would like to see expansion. Internal soup at the high. If you get strong closure below this 325 candle, I would be more sus about the longs. It wouldn't be so good for us. Okay. Kinda closing below it, and there is a candle. Okay, so now we are kind of playing inside this range from 305 to 323. To be honest, right now I would like to see another leg lower, potentially for, you know, taking the lows right there. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, there is a lot of liquidity below us. It's just time-wise, I don't think we will have some big move lower. If we will have any move, I think it would be, you know, market open or possibly London. We'll see. I mean, London at 4:30 is usually the time. Okay, big candles. Okay, so now this candle, we go from high to low, nearly top 50%, internal soup at the high. If you are still bearish, this could be pretty good entry, to be honest. You put your stop at the high, and just low hanging fruit will be 333 candle and then 305 candle. I mean, we can do it. It's pretty good. Confirm. Okay, there is first TP. You can buy one right there. Since we are closing the CI below this 334, we are creating CISD, internal soup. I would like to see fast candles throughout the lows, so we can put our stop loss into break even. Confirm. Okay. Perfect. Get a small candle. Okay. Internal soup of the previous candle. This candle is also kind of rebalancing the range from 337 till. Oh no, that. Okay.
Pitbull,
Yeah.
can you give a little pause and can you a little bit reiterate when you're going through the PA, how do you consider those ranges where we need to rebalance, or especially in the conditions like now, when we have strong moves and we just simply don't have to come back to a certain area to rebalance until we reach a certain point. So what are your views on that? Like, how do you see when we have to retrace to a 50% range or to ODE or like even deep retracement with maybe an SMT, and when you just don't have to kind of look back and expect something like this and we just go? Because like there are retracements in localized fractals, there are like higher time frame retracals. There are retracals after we reach, let's say, if from an SD standpoint, negative 3.54, we have to come back to 50% of the range or create another manipulation. So, what are your views on that? Like when, because it's impossible to consider every single fractal and multiple fractals on various time frames.
Yeah, I mean, like we all know, like after we take some sort of liquidity, we can anticipate some sort of retracement out of it, but it's, I think, impossible to know how deep we are going. Meaning, like, we never know, we'll know if you are going to the EQ or if you are going to the OTE. The only kind of helpful thing or thing that can help us is if we do have sort of strong PDR array on the left that could kind of act as some sort of resistance throughout the direction. But if we're talking about the ranges, like for example right here, for this move I went from the 201 candle till 247 candle because this range was not rebalanced. This is not the rebalance of the range. Of course, like after, if you go a little closer, if you are bullish, we want to see that 224 candle act as protected low, and then the candle of 230 is confirmation for it. But that doesn't mean we rebalance the range. It just means that for now we are so bullish that we are not coming back to rebalance the range. But then we have this, post manipulation, soup, fair swing, and still this range was not rebalanced. So, it makes sense for you to take in consideration the whole range. On the other hand, right now, I consider this range to be rebalanced. So now I want to see how I react in this smaller range. And again, I don't know if you are going to the 50% or OTE or maybe 25%. That's the reason why we are not predicting, but we are reacting. I'm going just out of the reactions of the market.
No, I understand the concept when we have to retrace the larger fractal, then this retracement to 50% and the range is kind of shrinking, and that is exactly the place for both longs and shorts. I understand that concept, but knowing me as a person who likes to overcomplicate things, and I'm doing my best to keep it, stupid simple. That's what makes like your views and DJs and like a bunch of other guys, experienced guys, such important in this. Like when do you expect retracement? When you don't like care about it and just trade pure price action? Because like there are too many factors to consider in all this.
Yeah, I mean the strength and speed of the candles are a huge factor in it. Like for example, right here, these candles are fast and strong. Like you can expect that we are probably going, a little further than EQ of the range. But I don't know. Right here is pretty strong bullish order flow. We'll wait for a little and I will show you a little better example. But it's, I don't know what DJ opinion on this is, but I would say like the experience and playing with fractals and all of that play a huge role into this, because it's hard to kind of tell you like easily what I'm looking for in these ranges, because most of it comes from experience. So yeah, but the easiest way I can tell you, like, look at the ranges that are not rebalanced yet, and you're playing in that range basically.
Because personally, I tend to get caught in either trading price action without accounting for price retracements to 50% or ODE, and I get stop loss maybe, or basically improper stop loss placement. But at the same time, I might get caught in those retracements and completely miss the whole move if I expect it to do something. So that's the whole point of my question.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I know.
And I think a lot of people who will watch this video later might relate to that
I know
as well.
a lot
I'm
of you,
certain.
yeah, I know a lot of you guys have problem with ranges, and which range are we going to rebalance? Are we going to the EQ or OTE? Again, like that one is easy to answer because you never know. You're just going, from reactions out of that zones. You're never predicting because it's, I think, impossible to predict if you are going through OTE or if you are going just to the EQ. Like you never know. You need to have that reaction. But then, like, what ranges are important for us, that comes from experience. So
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
All right. So now, if you are still bearish, I would like to see this high for now be kind of protected. Uh, Again, if we will be able to get some sort of sweep, internal sweep of the lows, and then closure above this little 342 candle, or basically above this little accumulation range, and I will be a little more careful about the shorts. But yeah, for now we need to wait. Okay, and yeah, we just stepped out. All right, so now I need to watch if you'll be able to close basically above that 336, and then I need to check how we react in overall. Yeah, that's basically EQ, and the right here is OT. Okay, you can also put it right there. Okay. And the range is like you can be too zoomed in, and because every candle is also ranged by itself, so it can be really like overwhelming in certain scenarios. So yeah. But now, for example, your range is from this low to this high. That's basically your range. So now I need to see how we react inside the EQ if we are still bullish and if this is the low. You can see we are in EQ, internal soup right there. If you'll be able to get a closure above that 351, that's kind of telling like, okay, we might go a little higher. Does it mean that you need to take a long? Not really. This, I wouldn't say it's, it's not simple stupid. Like now we are kind of accumulating, so I'm waiting for us to get either below this range or above it, because until then you are just taking the low hanging fruits as a target. So now if I would be in the long, I would take most of my position at these highs, or at this high at 337.
Because we might soup that will be in the OTE, and
Yep.
that could be a failure swing for the kind of larger model.
Yep, exactly. Because again, we are in accumulation right here, Also from a retail standpoint, Head and Shoulders is possibly creating, So if you are still bearish, we will go for this high, put, I don't know, possible manipulation or anything, total sub at the highs, and then flush it again. Or if you are bullish, you will close strongly above it, maybe have some sort of rebalance, and then go for the highs, and then it should get a little cleaner. But until then, you need to take kind of low-hanging fruit targets, because again, you are inside this range and you are stuck in here. Okay, so now basically internal soup. We are kind of building LR right here. To be honest, this kind of looks like the model that I showed you before, or I went over at the 3-hour backtest. Basically, huge dump. We are inside the OTE, we soup the highs, and now with this candle, basically we are closing. Or not, we are not yet closing, but we can pretty much anticipate that we will close below that 359. So again, if you are thinking that we are bearish, this might be a best spot for you to enter.
And one more question till you go further. Like, we have a clean turtle soup, right? And that is supposed to be a clean short, but we have a significant LR right below. And what are the chances that we may rebalance that range, take some liquidity at one of those wicks, and then redisplace higher? So there are still like both scenarios in a game.
You mean the rebalance of this range?
Yes, because there's still quite a lot of low resistance liquidity right below.
From what I saw, it depends how big is the range. For example, if we do have LR as big as let's say this one, you know, basically the whole thing from 1 a.m. till now is kind of LR. It's much more
probable.
It's not, I don't know, like more often we will just reach 50% and have some reaction out of it, you know, but throughout this liquidity, I'm pretty sure they will just take it all, you know.
Blast through it.
Yeah, we should just blast through it because it's, you know, it's small ranges.
Like so in all this, you tend to keep in mind kind of the larger picture.
Yeah, of
and
course.
Just use those localized fractals as your kind of precision entry points.
Yes.
Okay.
Because even now, like, I can pretty much anticipate that we are going lower, but I don't know how much lower are we going. I'm pretty sure that now we should take, I mean, at least this low at 341. That's pretty much my target for now. But then, are we going lower? I mean, we do have targets for sure. It's just since we are in all-time highs, you know, and the time-wise, yeah, we'll see. Because what can happen? We can take just some internals and then, like, you know, run it back higher. And also, like, this kind of pretty much possible high because it looks like it. If you go and study the highs, this kind of signature of it. But yeah, there is not so, you know, so clean manipulation in here. So I'm kind of skeptical, but yeah, we will see. And so now if I'm correct, you know, we can put our stop loss basically right here. We can take our first TP at the low at 340. And then I would be looking for, you know, a further distribution or, yeah, we'll see what price will tell us.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay, so now we are basically creating internal sub at the lows. Another internal soup and flush. Perfect. Now also what I'm seeing, 4 consecutive candles. We are taking liquidity on the left. We can also put our stop loss to that swing point of 404. So now again, if we are bullish, we need to see closure above that 404. If we are bearish, you know, like we are still potentially distributing, so okay, we took another internal low, we created internal soup. And so even now, like, you can say like, okay, we just, you know, dump lower, we took liquidity, internal soup, little push higher, this candle just rebalance the range of those two candles, and now if we would be able to close about 409 candle, that would mean that we are probably going higher, but then again, it's a little too zoomed in. But in terms of ranges, you know, it's correct way. So now we are basically closing above that 404 and we are basically again in the range. So now we sweep the lows. Now I'll be looking for a highs being taken again. So now we are taking the internal swoops at the high, and I again can see that we do have 4 consecutive candles. Would this mean that I am going for long? No, not at all. We just took liquidity and we are in the range. So now if I'm looking at anything, I'm looking for a short. Right there. So now we just took the highs. Now I'll be looking again. In this scenario, I will pretty much interested how we react in the 50% and the EQ, or we are going again for the lows here. Okay, so we are now inside the EQ at OTE, internal sub at the low. You can retest the order block at 404, also still inside the OTE. So now again, if we'll be able to get a strong closure of 420, I'll look at the highs. I mean, even in this little range right here, where's it? We basically just tapped that 50% of the range. So even this isn't, you know, this is pretty good spot for longs if you actually think that we are bullish, you know, and we are going for the highs again. So what we can do right here, you can take 2 contracts. You can put your stop loss below that candle at 430, because why? Again, if we are bullish, we just rebalance the range, we are pushing higher, we are closing above the highs, we are closing above the order block, you are basically creating the order block. So now I don't want to see us coming back inside this range. I don't want to see further, you know, rebalance of this little range. All of that would just mean that we are more bearish than bullish to me. So now I want to see us running higher. In terms of targets, since we are still, you know, stuck in the range, we need to take low-hanging fruits. The scared partial can easily be 420, and then I will be looking for the highs again, and then depending how strong we'll close above the highs, you know, then potentially we can be looking for further distribution, but until then it's just low-hanging fruit. Okay, so now we are closing strongly above these highs on the left. So you can either take your partial right there, you know, or you can just wait and kind of trail a stop loss. That's the first way, or, you know, wait for something that is telling you that we might be still bearish. For example, right here, internal sub at the highs, we are sweeping the candle on the left. So now I can take one off. And we can put our stop loss to break even, to be honest, yeah, right there. Okay, got a scary candle. This also could be just rebalance of this range.
Pitbull, in placing those stops, are you accounting for the a potential rebalance, or just putting your stop at B? So if you are wicked, no matter where your entry point is, there will also be an opportunity to re-enter. So that's the whole idea behind that.
I mean, it depends. Like in this scenario, like the best place for the stop is still at 430, because like you said, we could just rebalance this range and went higher. But in kind of this consolidation, yeah, it's I would rather wait for something cleaner, because even this, you know, it's not the easiest and not the, you know, the most A++ setup that you can take. Just something that was probably in here, and you have tight stop, and basically, you know, yeah. But yeah, for this trade that I took, your stop should still be at that 430, but it's kind of like about your risk management, you know, like sometimes if I take a partial, my stop loss is going to break even, or, you know, sometimes I will leave it there because it makes sense for me to leave it there. Yeah, it's, yeah, kind of depends. Also, what I can see right now is we are building LRLR at the lows right here, which kind of gives me an idea we are going for the highs again. And if this is the actual high and this is protected high, we can just soup again at 414 and then dump it again and take the lows finally. Again, internal CISD right there. Now we rebalance the range from 437 till 444. And strong candle through the high, so now I would like to see us taking that 414 high. Internal soup at the high. This could as well be the top of the move right there. Also, we can see that we do have 6 consecutive candles going higher, taking the liquidity. Is a little sus. So this could as well be the example that I just showed you right here, just on a bigger fractal. Again, right here, this is kind of more predicting than reacting to the price. Or I will just give you that scenarios. If the next candle or so will close above 459, we are bullish. If the next candle will be bearish, or we will see further distribution, we are going for the lows, and then I will be looking for the 408 low. But for you to have some sort of confirmation, you need to see closure below that 453 candle. Internal soup. So now we are accumulating after we took liquidity. That's pretty good. So now again, closure above that 459 would mean that we are going higher. If we will get strong closure below this little accumulation, I'm looking for the lows to be taken. Right there, accumulating, closing below. Also the same candle is rebalancing the range on the left and retesting CISD on the left. But in overall narrative, we should go lower right here. And it doesn't matter that we just rebalance the bullish range and we just, you know, retap the CISD, we should go lower because of the overall narrative. So kind of have in mind, like we just opened new hourly candles, so now if we go lower, yeah, just the idea that I have in my mind, just playing over and over again. So now in terms of targets, lowering the fruit, you know, for example, in this in this one, we could kind of target the 50% of it because it's pretty huge range, you know, it's pretty big LRLR, and I saw quite often, like you said, we'll just hit 50% and then reverse it, you know, rebalance the range and then push it lower again. So if we go from the low to the high of that, we can take at 437 one partial, and then we can take another one at 408. We're gaining speed. Closure below everything. So now we can take one off. Again, right here, you know, your stop should stay at the same place or to be even higher. Because now if I put it right here, we just took liquidity, so it means that we can start some sort of rebalance, you know, and we will hit EQ, OTE, we can hit this order block and then flush it again. But then it's up to if you want to risk it, or you know, you will be able to withstand sort of price action. So now we do have accumulation, internal sub at the lows, candle closing with the highs right here. So I wouldn't be so surprised if we would start some sort of rebalance right now. Gonna retesting that order block, slow candles higher, slow and small, another accumulation closing above it. We just hit 50% of this little range. Internal soup, candle closing higher through the highs. So now I'll be looking for if we get strong candle right now, that will mean that I'm looking for the highs. If we get strong closure below that 529, it should mean that we are still okay. Also, we just hit 50%, I believe, or OTE of the range. From the range high to the range low, 50%. Also, there is new 15 candle opening. Pretty nice candle. Right now I would like to see further distribution, so now we can put our stop loss right there. Now it makes sense for us to move our stop loss. Why? Because we now rebalance the range lower. We kind of build up liquidity right here, so now we are getting strong candle closure below this 529, creating another CISD internal soup. This should stay protected for now if we are actually bearish. Internal soup of that candle, creating order block. So now if you want to trail it really, you can put it at 537 as stop loss right now, because again, you don't want to see us coming back to it. Kind of slow candles. Now we rebalance the range for longs, internal soup, and that candle is kind of telling you like, okay, be cautious, I might go higher. Internal soup, another CISD close right there. Now I'll be looking for the price taking the highs again right here. Okay, so now we are out, and we are still inside the OT or the previous bearish range. Internal soup at the lows, so now I'll be looking for the highs to be taken. We are 1 minute away from 6 AM opening. We do a pretty much straight up move. Also, this might as well be, you know, this one on the left and this bigger one on the left. So now, depending on the next candle, we'll see how we'll react to it. Hey, Kai. So even now we know, after that 6 AM opening, I know it's scary, but I wouldn't be so surprised if we just dump right now. There you go, draw the lows, taking the liquidity. Internal soup at the lows, little size, you could expect some sort of rebalance or, you know, us pushing a little higher. And so now if we'll be able to get strong closure above 6 a.m. opening, that would kind of mean that, okay, like we may go for the highs again. If not, and we'll get strong closure below 602, that could be a spark of a little bigger move lower to take some of the liquidity on the left. Internal sub at the high. Now we are inside 50% of the previous range. Previous range being candle of 602 and 604. Now to be honest, I kind of see like we will take the low. Closure below that order block. Potential entry there. Your stop is going to be 609 candle high, and basically now you can expect us ripping throughout the lows. Again, is this, you know, high probable? Not really, but I can see it happening right here. Or I mean high probable, like it's not the best trade that you can take. I think it's pretty probable, but yeah. So now we are taking liquidity on the left, but how we are taking it? We are taking it with 6 basically, or 5 constant candles going lower. And we are still not able to, you know, get that displacement throughout these lows on the left. This little region is still holding us back. So now internal sub at the lows, pushing a little higher. And so now we are inside this range. Internal sub, closing with the order block. Okay, so now it seems these are sus candles for the high to the low. We are inside this order block, sweeping the highs. By the candle itself, you can expect, to be honest, in this sort of PA, you can expect either a few candle higher or we'll dump it and take the lows again.
What time is it?
6:36. And so for scalp, it's pretty perfect. You can put your stop at that high. 6:35. It should be protected for now. You can confirm it, and you can take your TP at that 6:26 low. There you go. Pretty easy scalp. In 2 minutes, you will be out. Internal sub at the lows, another internal sub at the low. Accumulating after we took liquidity. Okay, usually two. After I have 2 losses in a row, I'm kinda done for the day. 2 or 3 depends on setup, you know, and overall price action. If you are in consolidations and stuff, I'm done rather quickly. So now the thing that we are not able to close below this, and we are still kinda, you know, pushing higher, kinda showing that we might truly push higher. So now this candle by itself is telling me that, okay, we might push higher right here. If we'll be able to close below 6:35, I will be thinking about possibly entering a long strong closure, retest. Okay, it seems that we are going a little over, or we'll have a little rebalance. So if you take the range from 644 to 647, now we need to see how we react inside the EQ of the range or OT of the range. Okay, we are touching the order block on the left. And now strong candle after we touch the 50%. So now again, if we are bearish, we will flip this candle of 652 and we will continue lower. If we are bullish, this is the low of this little fractal until the draw on liquidity will be met. So if you are entering right here, you can put your stop either to the candle low or to the 650 low. I mean, I can also prefer the 651 because again, if we will flip this candle, it means that we are more bearish than bullish. So we can put it right there. Now we can, what we want to see is kind of expansion higher. We took liquidity, we are kind of retesting the CISD on the left, we are still holding it, so that's nice to see. And that's 7 AM candle. 7 AM candle basically just opened, rebalanced the range, push higher, and we are closing strongly above basically the highs on the left. We're also close above that 6 AM opening. So now I would like to see further distribution higher. I mean, we are in 2 counts, we can take one off, even though I think we'll just run right here. Also, we can move your stop loss to that swing point or to break even. That's correct candle. To liquidity, come back, retested the previous highs on the left. And this candle 703 is creating that order block. So now ideally we should see higher prices. Also, we can put our stop loss to that swing point of 702 and kind of just trail our stop, not swing point, intermediate low. Alright, so we are taking the highs again. Now in candle or two we should go throughout the highs. Internal super high, I'm not a huge fan of that. Can throw the lows. Now you should ideally see distribution higher. You can also throw a stop to that low. The candle rebalance the range. Candle is also closing higher, so now in an ideal world we should see, yeah, candle closing throughout the highs, creating another order block, sweeping the liquidity, and again we don't have liquidity much above because again we are at all-time highs. So now, to be honest, we can just wait for some sort of manipulation to occur. This candle just rebalance the range. You can put our stop loss right here. So now, this could be the potential manipulation. We are closing below that 725. If then scenarios, if we are bearish, ideally you want to see further distribution or return to the EQ and, you know, bounce from it. Or if you are bullish, we just took internal liquidity, and now if you'll be able to close above 727, that could be possible next entry for longs. We're kind of retesting the order block on the left, so this is kind of the last spot I would say where we can bounce. Okay. Internal sub at the highs, not a huge fan of that, but I think we should still go higher. Right there. We're closing through the highs. So now we can add one more. We can put our stop loss right below this candle. Also VPG right there, so we can actually put it a little closer. And now we escape the range, so now it should become a little easier and a little smoother. What we can see right here, 5 consecutive candles, internal sub at a high. Not a huge fan of that. Candle again closing above that previous candle, creating another another order block, so we can trail our stop. We are pushing for consecutive candles. To be honest, right now I'll be looking for some sort of manipulation to occur. Internal sub at a high. Now, if we'll be able to get strong closure below 737, I'll be a little cautious. Closure below 747 could mean that we are going at least for 736 candle. Something like this. The reasoning being basically this candle, this move rebalances the range higher. Then those two candles can try to rebalance the 2 candle range right here. And now the thing that we are closing below that 743 is kinda, you know, telling you that we should go a little lower. How much lower? I would say at least we'll tap that region of 736 candle again if we are still bullish. And if not, you know, potential closure below 731. So now, you know, it would be best kind of spot to take partials, or, you know, we just trail our stop loss so we can leave it right there. Internal sub at the lows, kind of last spot where we can bounce. Okay, we put it to the low. Internal sub at the highs, closing above that 745 candle. It's kind of sus how we just printed it again, 6 consecutive candles. Internal sub at the high. So this might as well be fair swing. If this is manipulation, sub fair swing, for now just possible. This candle also rebalances the range right here, 50%. So again, if you'll be able to get closure above 753, that would mean for me that this is not manipulation and we are going even higher. Strong closure above that 754, also above that 741. So now we can take our stop to that 756 candle. I'm gonna confirm it. And again, like, we are in a region where we can pretty much expect or put some sort of manipulation. Also time wise, if 730 is not manipulation, now we are opening new hourly candle. Pretty interesting. So now we kind of rebalance the range. We are inside the OTE. We pushed higher. So it's right now it's kind of the same scenario as here. If this manipulation sub, this can just rebalance the previous range of those 2 candles. And now if you would be able to get strong closure below that 803 candle, I'll take some partial. Alright, I can take one off. And Right, so now we're closing below that 803 candle. If we are bearish, you know, we want to see closure below 756. That will mean for me that we are going for some of the liquidity on the left. I'm not saying we are going for the low, I'm just saying that we will go a little deeper. And again, if we will be able to flip that 804 candle, that will mean that we are still bullish and still possibly going higher. Right, that candle is kind of telling you that okay, we should go lower. Internal sub at that candle, retesting the CISD on the left. I don't believe we hit the EQ, that's... we just... If you're looking for shorts, this could be pretty much good entry for you. The 809 candle. Okay, so now strong closure below this little accumulation, kind of rebalance, and this could be also the spark of the move, the way how we closed with the speed and strength. With this type of move, you need to see fast distribution. You don't want to see us coming higher than anything because the stop might be pretty huge in these type of the moves. It's not so big right here because we are still in the pre-market, but yeah, in New York AM this could be as well, you know, 25 points, which in 2 cones would be more than $1,000. So now if we are going lower, how much lower can we go? I mean, I would be technically looking for the 50% of the overall range, meaning if we take where is it, the range low to the range high, 50% is right here, so right here would be my first TP, and then I'll be looking for 6 AM retest or possibly going lower. We're kind of slowing down, not a huge fan of that. Order book right there. Best case scenario, we shouldn't come back to those candles, so we can kind of put our stop loss to break even at least. Internal sub at the lows, and we are taking the first TP right there. We can take one off, and we can wait and see if we'll hit that 6 AM opening. Right, so now go over and take the whole range. Thing is, I'm not still convinced if we do have manipulation under here. It looks like it. If there's many, soup, fair swing, distribution, and now we can just rebalance the range. Possibly we can take some sort of internals, meaning we could take that 809 high, and from there on we could see further distribution. In that scenarios, the first TP would be 821, and then if it would be the second leg, you know, distribution, we're going for the lows right here, meaning if we'll be able to close below this accumulation, like we should see a pretty big hit move right there. Guys, give me a second, I'll just jump for some water or something. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Do any of you guys have any questions for now about this PA or about what's happening? Or not really? Alright. Okay, so now we'll see how we react at those highs on the left. Internal soup at a high, also straight down, you know, straight up kind of scenario right here. So now we are in EQ of the overall range, so kind of no touch. We need to see more. I don't think we just rebalanced the range right there, not really. Internal soup, we soup the high again. So now if we would be able to have a strong closure below 8.27, that would mean for me that we should go lower, potentially taking the low of 8.21, and sorry for that, after that closing or taking the lows right here of the accumulation. Alright. Basically the candle just did what we want to see. To be honest, like once you would pass that 8.27, you should be in the shorts. The thing with our backtesting sessions, we can only go from candle closure, so we'll enter right here, and we'll put our stop loss to the candle high, also the candle soup, again the internals. So now we should definitely not come back to here if we are bearish, and now we want to see flushing, we want to see further distribution, we don't want to see any, you know, coming back inside the EQOT and playing some sort of accumulation game right there. You want to see further distribution after this candle. Yeah, guys, it's kinda, you know, disadvantage I would say, but still, in terms of you getting better in reading PA, the backtesting can be quite useful. Yeah. Alright, so now we are closing below the lows right here, below that 8.21 candle. We are kind of creating CISD again. In the same way, we are taking a liquidity. So now, again, I would like to see us coming lower, but at the same time, we can have a little rebalance. Alright. So now we took internals. Basically, we kind of retesting the highs on the left, and so that. So now after that, can expect us pushing a little higher. We should not come back to the EQ though, or past the EQ, I mean. We retested the CISD on the left, kind of closing below that 8.32, creating an order block. Internal super candle, pushing a little higher, building liquidity right there. So now again, if you'll be able to get closure below 8.34, that would kind of mean for me that we are going lower. If we get, on the other hand, closure above 8.34, that means for me that we are going at least inside the OT of this little range, if not for the highs again. A little internal soup at the highs. Big closure below the bodies on the left. This candle by itself is telling you that we should go lower right now. Perfect. To be honest, if we are correct, this should be the high for now. Basically, this should be the second leg delivery, so I would wait for us to take at least these lows on the left. And with the speed of these candles. I don't want to see us coming back higher, so we can put our stop loss to that break-even point. And now, yeah, now I would like to see a few more candles going through those lows on the left. Internal soup, not something that you want to see. If the next candle would close below that, it's only good for us. If not, we can kind of expect little rebalance of the range. So if you go from the range high to the range low, now we need to wait and we need to see how we react inside the EQ or OT of this little range. A fat candle right inside of the EQ. We are kind of retesting the order block on the left. We are also retapping that 6 AM candle, so for now still good. Alright, so now if you'll be able to get strong closure above 8.48 candle, that's sus for us. But now we kind of rebalance the range for shorts, so now we want to see us closing below 8.43, and then we want to see further distribution lower. Closure below 8.43. Bang. We closed below it and we took liquidity on the left through those lows, so we can now take one off. We can put our stop loss to this high, and now we just need to wait for some sort of manipulation to occur. We're kind of retesting that CISD on the left, also from the range high to the range low. Right here, this should be the same thing that happened right here, that happened right here, and that happened right here. So now we have strong closure, we have point of interest on the left, and we now just hit 50% of the range right now, and now we should go lower. This should be the high of the move. They should stay protected for now. So now we can take one off, or we can add one more. We can put our stop loss to that candle high. We can confirm that. Now I can anticipating that we'll close strongly throughout the lows right there, and then possibly going lower, even though I'm not sure how much lower are we going. Again, this could be as well accumulation, manipulation, and New York Open could be just distribution lower, which would be pretty beautiful to see, because that will mean that we are going, or we should go little over. Yeah.
Pitbull, can I ask you a question?
For sure.
So what are the chances? Can you zoom out a little bit? So with this fractal, we've just souped the lows of all that build-up accumulation.
Yep.
So it is safe to assume that we've taken some liquidity, and there is quite a probability that we might rebalance this whole range. Because look, you've put OTE on the past two fractals, right? But we haven't rebalanced this failure swing leg with the turtle soup.
Yeah.
The larger one. So that's why you put your stop loss that close. So if we get stopped out, there is a bigger chance that we actually displace higher and rebalance that larger leg, correct?
I mean, yeah, it's possible. And like you said, like we took a bunch of liquidity right here. There's a lot of liquidity in these lows right there. In the same time, this well as might be accumulation, manipulation, and now distribution. We're pretty close to the New York Open or Market Open, so that would be quite telling, I would say, in what's going to happen next. For now, again, like this, I can see us taking the lows again for now. and after that we'll see if he would be able to put some manipulation, or we'll go from there on. But for now, I'm still bearish.
Makes sense. Hi, Jordan.
Jordan, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yep. Long time no see. How we doing?
I got fucking booted from WAP.
Yeah, bro, I was talking to Cam, like, Jordan left the server, like, what's going on?
No, that was just on the rebuild date. I was disputing another creator, and they wouldn't return the money, so I was like, all right, fuck you. I'll just, go through my credit card, and that's a violation of WAP's terms and conditions. So, because creators always say no to a refund, and the guy never produced anything. He scammed. He lied. But I got it resolved. Talked to DJ, and we're all good. I just wanted to say hi. I'm not going to backtest right now.
All right.
Hi, Jordan. Glad to see you.
You too, man. Who's in here?
What do you mean?
Not that many people, actually.
I'm trying to see. Oh. Okay.
Cadenator, and I believe Wiki is here for like past couple of days.
I see it. Yeah, I'll I DM'd you, Pitbull, just to let you know that I wasn't, because Cam said, you were asking, and no. Yeah.
I saw your message.
We're good.
I just going through the backtest, so I wasn't responding to you, but yeah, I saw the message.
Yep. Yeah, I actually had a good week trading, so like I took a break for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, he was mentioning that. Yeah.
So
but I'm glad you
did. It's good. All right, have a good time, fellas. I'll see you later.
Yeah, see you, bro.
Yep. Thanks, man. Likewise.
Bye.
Yo, Vicky, what are you doing here? 30 hours.
So you were right about this fractal.
Yeah, I was right.
Because of janky candles up.
Yeah, janky candles up again. We are retesting the CISD on the left, and then we have basically this candle reached the EQ of the overall range, and then when the next candle created this wick, this should stay protected for now. It's again experience, and I saw this fractal going on pretty often.
And that's exactly what my question was about rebalancing the whole thing, because you see we still have unbalanced fractal from a failure swing, and I'm like constantly keeping in mind that we should at some point return back to it, just because I don't see it as balanced.
Like for that you need to see like some bigger CISD, and bigger overflow change, because until then you are playing inside the smaller ranges. But once you get the bigger, CISD, or not even bigger, like you will get change in the overflow, then you'll be looking for all or range and what ranges are not rebalanced yet, and where are the points where we can rebalance. And yeah. Okay, usually I'm just on 1 minute. When I'm going with you guys, I'm using 15 minutes for sort of liquidity points, so I would know where we are potentially going. But the thing is, we are right now at all-time highs, so there is not really a point for me to, mark out anything, because I know that there is liquidity on the lows, and yeah, there is pretty much no liquidity on the highs, on the one that just created. So yeah. So now this candle, basically we are getting strong closure below everything on the left. We can definitely take one off right here. We can in the same time put our stop loss to break even right there, because again it makes sense. And now after that candle, I would like to see us displacing even lower, possibly tapping that 2 AM candle. That could be the next partial. Other than that, we are in the 9 to 9:30 range in time wise, so I don't expect such a big moves. Okay, we just tap it. we're in one con, so we can kind of trail it. We're kind of slowing down right here. If we would be able to get strong closure about 906, that would be kind of sus for me. Internal sub at the highs, kind of closing lower. All right. And that's kind of sus to me. All right. So now, since we are a few minutes before market open, we'll just wait for market open to open. Now we just rebalance the bearish range. So now, if you be able to get strong closure below that 912 low, we should go lower. If we would be able to get strong closure above 858 or the 9 AM, I would like to see higher prices. Little accumulation inside the 50% of the previous range. Internal soup. So now, since we take the lows, we should go for the highs. Internal soup at the highs. We rebalance the candle, closing higher. Also retesting the order block on the left. And we are also 3 minutes away from market open. That's 928, okay. $9.29 and market open. Okay, so market open subs the lows, and in the same way we just rebalance the range from 927 to 930. So now we are in the middle of the range, so no touch. We are kind of building liquidity on the highs, 3 equal lows. And again, we are still inside the range, so still no touch. Souping the lows again, we are not able to displace properly for now. Again, going from if then scenarios, if we will be able to get closure above 931, possible longs, if not, we're going lower. Okay, we are again at those highs. The thing is that single candle is 26 points, which I'm not a huge fan of. So we'll see for some better entry. Internal sub at the highs. We are again at 50% of the candle, not of the range. 50% of the range is right here. Alright, so now market open, we basically took liquidity on the left, we took internal lows, we kind of took some liquidity, from this LLR that we just created. Then we pushed higher, we built up more liquidity on the highs right here. Those two candles push us lower, basically we rebalanced the range perfectly. The 936 candle created internal soup at the low, and we are pushing strongly higher, meaning I would like to see the next candle basically ripping through the highs. Because again, if you are bullish, there is no reason for us to come back to here, to this zone, Why? Because we just rebalance it. We just took liquidity, we took internal, and we are pushing higher. So now we want to see further distribution higher throughout the highs. You see, closure below, closure above, accumulation right here. So now I'm looking for bigger ranges. And now is the time where I would, you know, be looking for rebalances of the bigger ranges, you know. So even if you take the whole thing, I mean, we are kind of 50%, but yeah. We kind of retested the highs on the left. Not a huge fan of that candle at all. We are also kind of slowing down. Okay, big scary candle. At the same time, the candle is just for now rebalancing the range and also retesting the highs on the left. So now, if you are still bullish, we need to see closure above that 940 candle. That would indicate that we are going higher. Also, if we'll be able to close above it, we can put our stop loss then to that low of 940, yeah. Small candles. So now we just rebalance the bearish range. This candle just rebalance the bullish range. And strong closure throughout the highs. This basically by itself could be your entry, and your stop would be the 944 candle. Yeah, if you want, after I'm done with backtesting, I can go over BPG and the overall thing. I want to go over it right now. So 945, we are closing above the range highs right here. Again, this could be entry by itself. Your stop loss then would need to go to the 944 candle, and yeah. I'm not a huge fan of how we are just coming back inside the range. For now, it's just small candles. We also kind of retested that 6 AM opening. Internal sub at the lows. So now again, same scenario. If we would be able to get strong closure above 946, I'm looking for bigger distribution higher, and in that scenario, if you're a little bullish, we're going for the highs again. The thing is, we do have potential manipulation at the highs and the potential manipulation at the lows. So it's kind of like, until we'll take one of them, you know, we need to have two scenarios in our minds. Because this will get taken easily if you are bullish. The harder will be that 830 because that's protected high. But again, if you are bullish, it should be just a liquidity point, and I would roll liquidity. Internal sub at the highs, candle just can rebalance the range, nothing serious, and now that's confirmation candle for higher. Yep, internal sub at the high. Accumulating, 10 AM open, beautiful. Closing above the highs, taking everything on the left. Can definitely take a partial right here. One. And so now I don't want to see us flipping this candle. If you are bullish, we want to see further distribution. So now we can put our stop loss to this intermediate low at 958. Equal highs, So now I would like to see us taking the highs at least one more time. There we go. In the same time, we can try our stoppers right to that low. Internal sub at a high, another sub at a high. Not a fan of that. Okay, we're closing about this accumulation, so we should. You know, not a huge fan of that candle, but I don't think this is manipulation because you know it doesn't look like manipulation. For that, we need to see more. Also, not a huge fan of that wick. This candle is basically closing above that 1009, creating the order block, taking the highs again. So now, if we are bearish, we need to see closure below 10 candle, so we can kind of put our stop loss right below it. And if we are bullish, we need to see again closure above the highs and yeah, going higher, waiting for manipulation. Alright, so now we are closing below 10-15 candle, creating order block for lows. We are not able to yet close below 10-10 candle. So for now I'm still okay, but yeah, internal sub at the lows. Okay, kind of closing below it without speed. Internal sub again, so now we can kind of expect us pushing a little higher. Okay, there we go. We are closing again above 10-16. The thing is, if this is manipulation sub, then we are now creating the fair swing. So if we are bullish, we need to see closure above 10-13. That will tell us that this is not manipulation. Or we need to see closure below 10-20, and that will tell us basically that this is kind of the fair swing. Internal sub at the highs. Oh, kind of strong displacement right there through the lows. So now we can take two right here. And to be honest, I don't want to see us coming back to the FEG. I would like to see distribution. I would like to see distribution right there. In terms of TPs, the first TP would be 10 AM. It also is the EQ of the range, I believe. Take low to the high. Gives a little higher. And if you take the overall range from 930 to low, yeah, 10 AM is perfect spot, I would say. Candle closure like this, basically creating another order block. Also could be a pretty good spot for another entry, or kind of confirmation that we shouldn't come back, you know, to the highs again. Right there, internal sub at the highs. Candle closing like this, I'm pretty much sure that we're going to take that 10-28 lows and then possibly, you know, tapping that 10 AM open. Okay, we just tapped 10 AM. Not a huge fan of that candle. I would like to see us coming back for the week, but we can take one off. Okay, we're coming lower. Also, we're kind of building LRLR right here, which I'm not a huge fan of that. internal soup right there. And they are pushing higher. So now if we are bullish, this is kind of the spark of the move. And I can kind of see us taking at least this LLR that we just built up right here. I mean, theoretically it's not the worst idea to just, you know, yeah, take over the trade. So now internal sub at the highs. I'm thinking like we push higher, basically create potential manipulations, sub fares. When we push lower, we tap 10 AM, basically build up liquidity. We push higher again. We are not able to close above the lows. We kept this high protected. We sub the internals right here. We push it lower. Those three candles rebalance the range from 1039 to 1040. And now if we would be at we would be able to get a strong closure below 1041. If we are still bearish, this is our next best entry right there. It's just kind of I don't know if it makes much sense for me, you know, to just push it lower, back higher, and now again lower. It's kind of sassy for me, but again, this can be just building liquidity for, I don't know, for lunch, let's say, or yeah, for later. Retail.CISD, internal sub at the highs. If you will be able to get a strong closure below the 1047, possibly again creating order block right there, and then I would like to see further distribution lower. Okay, right there. We are again near the 10 AM. Again, it's pretty good spot for us to take liquidity. Us to take partial, sorry. In the same time, I would like to see us closing throughout 10 AM right now. Internal soup. So now we are inside of the EQ of the range, pushing lower. Internal sub right there. Internal sub at the highs. Can push lower again, close below that little build up that we got right here. Also, we tapped at 2 AM, I think. Yeah, no, 6 AM, sorry. 6 AM. So again, it might be, you know, good spot for partial. Also, this EQ of the overall range from the 932 till 1012. Meaning, if we are still bullish, this is kind of the spot where we can anticipate that we will have some sort of reaction. So now if we would be able to get strong closure above that 11 AM candle, I would be looking for exiting my position right there. I can exit right here. So now next step for longs, we need to see strong closure above 1054. internal soup. Okay, there's our strong closure. At the same time, like, we do have everything that we want, basically internal soup, CSD right there, CSD right here, but now we are in the EQ of the range from 10:39 to 11 a.m. Meaning I would probably stay little, you know, it's a little no touch for me right now. Internal soup right there. If you'll be able to get strong closure about at 11:07, I will be entering along. Okay, it's not strong closure. Internal soup at the highs also. Internal soup right there. Kind of 4 consecutive candles. Okay, so now again, we just hit 50% of the all range with this move. If you are still bullish, or yeah, if you are still bullish, it doesn't make sense for us to go here and take lows again. Possibly we can take the internal liquidity right here by stooping this low, but we don't want to see us taking and closing below this low again. Also, it's possible that we'll just go and rebalance the range right here, meaning we are already in the EQ of the range. Internal soup, basically we are also retesting the CISD of 11 a.m. Another internal soup. Pushing a little higher. So now if we would be able to get closure above 11:13, that's kind of next best entry. I kind of can see us now closing above it. Okay, that's pretty good closure. We can enter right here. Again, not the best spot because, you know, of the replay mode, we can enter just only on the candle closure, but yeah, it is what it is. In terms of TPs and stop loss, we can put our stop loss. I mean, it's not best stop loss placement because we just took liquidity. We can go a little lower. In the same way, I would like to see further displays or distribution higher, at least for 10:48 candle high, and then we can be looking for these 3 highs on the left. Okay, internal soups. Internal soup at the lows, internal soup at the highs. So now, if you'll be able to get closure above that 11:25 candle, I'll be pretty bullish and I would be anticipating that we'll take the highs on the left. If not, and we are going lower, we need to see strong closure below that 11:21. Internal soup at the highs, we are kind of closing below this accumulation, not a huge fan of that. Another soup at the high, and now we are closing above the highs with strong candle. Okay, like kind of like this. So we should come back for the range again. This candle should be spark of the move. And now I will be looking for the highs to be taken one more time. Internal soup and also closing above at 11:33, creating another order block. So I would like to see higher. Same scenario right there. Internal soup at the highs. We're kind of slowing down right here. We are souping the highs right there. We can take one off. huge fan of that candle. Okay, we are closing all the highs right here. We are also in the new macro time. We are sweeping the highs again. We sweep the highs, another CIZ right here. We do have pretty much a lot of build up right there. We did not rebalance the range. This could be the spark of the move. This candle by itself rebalanced the range of those 3 red candles. So now if we'll be able to get strong closure below that 11.53, I will be potentially looking for exiting our long position. Internal sub right there. On the other hand, if we'll be able to get strong closure above 11.56, you know, we are going for the high and then possibly even further. Not a huge fan of that candle. Okay, so now we are kind of going to rebalance the range at least. The thing is, yeah, the EQ is in our stop loss, so we can pretty much anticipate that we'll get stopped out right here. Could be potentially the same thing that happened over and over again. Okay, we are closing throughout that low of 12.12 candle. I would like to see that 12.6 they're protected, and now we should go to that EQ at least. So if you are looking for some sort of scalp, this is a pretty good one. We shouldn't come back to this candle. We are sweeping the lows. We need to see a strong candle lower, like that. Okay, internal sub right there. There is your TP. So now we can exit either, you know, the whole position, or you can take just partial. In the same way, if we take just partial, we just rebalance the range, and now there is no reasonable place where we can put our stop loss other than that high that we, you know, already have our stop loss at. So now, oh, sorry about that. Now we are closing below that 12.17 candle. So now if we are bearish, I don't want to see us coming back to it. So now we can put it either to break even or the order block high. We are taking the lows again. We are taking this little accumulation on the left. In the same time, we have, you know, we need to have in mind that we just rebalance the bullish range, so we can expect a rotate for the lows immediately. We are creating that order block from 12.12 or 12.20 candle. Creating CISD right there, retest. And we are getting stopped out right here. So yeah, now we rebalance the bullish range. Now we are inside this bearish range right here. We just hit 50% inside the OTE. Kind of building a LRLR again, retesting order block. If we are bearish, this move should be spark of the move. And then again, I will be looking for at least this low being, you know, low-hanging fruit, and then possibly going a little lower. In the same time, I don't want to see, you know, coming us, you know, back to these lows. And still, we do have the potential manipulation of 1059. In the same time, we do have potential manipulation of the highs. So now we are kind of at 50% of the range, so it doesn't make much more sense for us to, you know, hold trades longer. Swooping the lows. Another sub at the low. Now we are closing below it, below this little accumulation on the left. So now I would like to see us coming a little lower, taking these equal lows, and that will be the first TP for us. Yep, right here. Take one off. Now we can put our stop loss to that candle high. Why? Because now we took liquidity, and now if we'll be able to close above that 1241, that will mean that we are potentially, you know, going higher basically. Also, we are kind of building LRLR right here at the highs. Okay, we took the highs, close above 1241. So now if we'll be able to get strong closure above 1232, you know, I'll be looking for longs. If not, we are still inside the range. So three candles lower, basically inside the OT of the previous range. Internal sub at the lows, retesting order block. Now strong closure below 103 candle. Basically that will mean that we are going at least for the lows again, or then I would be looking more than not for a retest of 10 AM candle, possibly taking the lows of 1118. But yeah, we are in 50% of this previous range. Kind of taking the highs, LRLR build up right here. Internal sub at the highs, creating CISD right here. If we want just flip this candle and basically, you know, close above 114 candle, 114 PM candle, this should be the spark of the move lower. In the same time, we are into, you know, we are at EQ of the oil range, so this for us should be more than not just, you know, stay away range, just no touch. In the same time, I'm just saying, if you are bearish, this is the spark of the move. Strong candle closing throughout the lows. Or throughout the lows, I mean throughout that 107 candle, throughout the lows of LRLR. Now we are closing below that 1249 candle, taking liquidity on the left. I will be looking now for the 10 AM tap. Not yet. 10 AM right there. Also kind of sus how we just printed 4 consecutive candles, you know, accumulation, possible manipulation. Now, if we'll be able to get strong closure above that 132 candle, we are possibly going for these smooth highs on the left, possibly for, you know, the overall high. Okay, right here. So now, CISD, a retest. We can enter right here. I don't see us coming a little, you know, into the range. I don't see us, you know, rebalancing it. I want to see further distribution higher throughout these highs. Smooth highs on the left, pretty good target for us. In the same time we can have some rebalance. Just took liquidity, smooth or straight down, straight up. So we'll see. A huge candle throughout the lows, closing below everything. I don't know if there was some news or probably just tweet, to be honest. I don't know. Now I'll be looking for that market open lows, to be honest.
Pitbull, or might be a tweet, but 145 right before the macro time.
I mean, yeah, but yeah, it's kind of, you know, we are accumulation, and then out of nowhere, strong candles lower. Could be also the next money, but I'm not sure about it. I'll just wait for possibly 2 PM and I will end it there. It's pretty late for me. But yeah, go a little further. So now we are taking internals again, 3 consecutive candles. Nothing yet. Internal sub at the lows. Now we are can expect rebalance of this range, which we just did. Just hit 50%. So now if we are still bearish, this might be the best spot for shorts. 2 PM open. We are opening lower. Okay, a little accumulation right here. I kind of like this candle. If the next candle would be closing lower below this accumulation, little, you know, a little deeper, I would enter a short. Yep, right here. So now we can enter a short right here. We can put our stop loss to this candle high above that order block. Now in terms of TPs, if we are correct, like we should go for the 932, I think it was 932 low. That should be the first TP, and then we can be looking for, you know, we do have targets on the left. Opa, sorry. Yep, there it is. Strong closure throughout the lows. We are also closing below that 932 candle, so we can definitely take one off. And now internal sub at the lows, this candle is kind of closing about that 222 candle, meaning I can kind of expect to just rebalance the range now. We are kind of near to it. Okay, we are inside the ODE. 3 candles going higher. Now closure below that 223 candle would mean that we are going, you know, even further lower, and then we can be looking for, yeah, the nearest one is this low of 930. That will be the next target for us. right there. That's our next target, and we can either trail our stop or take it all right here. So for now we'll just trail it and we'll wait for the next manipulation. Right, so now again we are inside this range from 226 till 231. We just hit 50% perfectly. It's on a super high. I would like to see this high stay protected or intact for now. 2 candles high. If you get strong closure below that 234 candle, again, kind of price is telling us that we should go lower. Right here, internal soup in the same candle closing below that 234. I mean, we can just put our stop loss right here. And distribution lower. Perfect. Internal soup, not a huge fan of that. Strong candle closure. Another soup. Now kind of same scenario, we are now inside this range. So we are already inside the OTE, so now I would like to see us, you know, to see some sort of reaction out of this order block on the left. Again, it's accumulation, all this region is kind of order block on a bigger range, or on the bigger time frame, sorry. Another internal sub at the highs. Sub at the highs, kind of closing lower. This should be the spark of it. And now we need to see strong closure below 244 candle. Perfect, right there. So again, you can trail stop. You don't want to see this candle being flipped, because why? We just took liquidity. So if we'll go and flip this candle, then I can kind of expect that we'll just go for the highs again, and then we can possibly create the CISD from there, and then we can, you know, go a little higher and rebalance the bigger ranges and all of that. We are closing below that 253 candle. So now we want to see distribution lower. On the other hand, if we will be able to close above 254, again, that will mean that, you know, we are going a little higher. We are closing above it, so now I can kind of expect that we'll just get stopped out. Yep, right there. Alright, boys. This will be all from me for today in terms of backtesting sessions. Do you have any questions about these fractals, or, you know, about the PA that we just go over?
Yeah, thank you, Pitbull. That was a good one, as usual. I really appreciate that.
For sure. Right. So now I will just